My name is Cameron Fous, and I have been a professional day trader for 13 years. Welcome to the Life of a Day Trader podcast with the Fous4 Trading Team, Michael Spinoza and Robert Millar. You are going to learn the ins and outs of day trading and hear real stories from professional traders. This is the Life of a Day Trader. What's up, guys? Cameron Fous here. Today we are recording our very first podcast, one of many to come. We've had a lot of requests to do this, and we have a bunch more in line, in the works to get started. This is going to be, probably one of the best educational tools for you guys as day traders, and it's absolutely free and gives you guys a chance to actually get to know us on a personal level as well. This isn't just going to be cut and dry, technical stuff. We're going to, talk about life as a day trader, talk about how it, affects our daily lives, how we implement that, how we deal with the stresses of trading. And it's basically be a podcast about the life of a day trader. So it's going to be super fun, super excited to get this going. We're going to be doing it once a week. You guys can always submit questions about topics that you would love to hear us talk about. And we also have a bunch of topics that we are going to talk about already. So anyways, my name is Cameron Fous. I am the founder of Fous4 Trading.com. I have been a day trader for 13 years, and I've been in the game of teaching people how to day trade for about a decade. So continue the ball here, starting our podcast. We don't have a name yet. We're still figuring it out. And we also have Michael Spinoza, Robert Millar, both former students who are now part of the Fous4 team and helping educate and kind of spread the good word about it. So, Mike, why don't you give a little introduction? Tell everybody.
I am director of trading at Fous4. I've been trading for about 3 years. I used to be a Fous4 student. Now I mentor everybody. Basically, looking forward to doing this as well and showing you guys the more raw side of trading. That's a lot of people don't talk about. So, looking forward to give you guys some laughs, some cries, and some
yeah, the real truth about trading. We'll get into the nitty gritty. We got Robert.
Hey guys, super excited to be here. I'm Robert, director of operations here at Fous4 Trading. Pretty much, if any of you have questions, you're new, or actually a student and just need help, I'm here for that. And I actually also was a student with Cameron about 5 years ago. I got started, and as many of you may know, there's so much stuff and crap out there. So I kind of help just kind of narrow that down, get people the right direction they need, just let them know what we do, how we do it, and make sure that it's a good fit all around. And really excited to get this podcast going. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah. So let's get right to it, guys. So one of the biggest questions we always get in day trading is how do we get started? So we're going to go over that today on our very first podcast, but we're going to give you the complete guide to failing as a new day trader. Okay. Because the fact is about 90 to 95% of people who want to get into day trading, they lose and never become day traders. And the biggest reason behind that is because they get started wrong. Just like I did, I failed for my first 3 years as a day trader because I was just winging it and not really going about it correctly. And people see, me make money, they see Mike make money, they see Robert make money or whatever, or they see some other trader on Instagram or Twitter making money, and they're like, oh, that sounds easy, and they want to get started today. So they're super impatient, and they don't actually go through the proper process. So we're going to give you kind of the 5 steps to failing as a day trader in getting started the wrong way. So first, we number one is opens up a Robinhood brokerage account. Okay, a lot of people think Robinhood, or they hear about it, it's like, oh, commission-free trading, but it's not an actual viable source to learn how to day trade. You need to have specific brokers to get started. And the problem is so many people ask us this first, is what software to use, what broker to use, and that question is so irrelevant if you don't know how to day trade. Usually my first response is when people ask me, like, are you a profitable trader yet? You need to be a profitable trader or a good trader to even be asking me that question, because if you're not, it doesn't matter. You're wasting my time and you're wasting yours by even bringing this question up. That is the wrong question. So it's just stupid because you don't need a broker if you don't know how to trade. So, Mike, why don't you kind of touch on that? What people ask you on a daily basis, DMs and Instagram, Twitter, and what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's all goes back like the get rich quick, and Robinhood obviously commission free. So people immediately, if you're in that mindset of like, oh, if I can save, $3 per trade, it's going to make a huge difference. And they're already in the wrong mindset. And then they ask what broker. Like when I first started, that was the last thing I asked. I remember I had Schwab as my first broker for like my first 6 months. And I had no idea that there was all these other brokers out there. So people just look immediately they ask the wrong questions. And if you could just focus on, I guess, learning. I guess the good analogy is like you haven't even been in a Ferrari, seen a Ferrari, or heard of a Ferrari, and you're asking like a mechanic about the hood of the car, and the mechanic's just like, who are you asking me, about this thing? Kind of like that, I guess.
Yeah, I always give the analogy, like you're speaking of cars, I give the race car analogy. So it's like, if I have been a professional race car driver for 13 years and you're like, yo, that looks super fun. I want to drive as well. I want to become a race car driver, but I have no idea what I'm doing, but I want the same exact car that you're driving, and I want to start driving today. Let's go race today.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like, all right, okay, let's get on the track. I have my race car. That's a badass, souped up car. I've been doing this for 13 years. I know exactly what I'm doing, exactly how to take the corners properly, braking, accelerating. And you're like, all right, I have the same car. I'm going to go compete with you on this track today. Like, what's going to happen? You're clearly not going to do well, or you're going to crash and potentially die, or, get injured or completely screw up your car. That's the same great analogy just for trading. Okay. Just because you have the same car, the broker or whatever, same tools, you have no idea what you're doing. And it's a very dangerous and high risk game, just as racing cars would be. You're putting your life at risk. In day trading, you're putting your whatever or all your money at risk. And so it's just a really stupid way to approach day trading, by asking to get all these tools first before you even have any experience, or you have never even practiced anything in day trading. That's one of the biggest reasons why people fail when they get started, because they want to get in that race car on day one with no experience. So Robert, you deal with talking with students way more than me and Mike do, as far as people who are just getting started and getting interested. Me and Mike do kind of the talking once they're already in the door and teaching, but you're actually talking with people before they even know anything, because you handle all the emails, the phone calls. So what are some of the stupid things you hear from these people who are trying to get started on a regular basis?
Sure. And to kind of touch on the Robinhood, we're not here to really bash them or anything. They're doing their thing.
Yeah, they definitely won't like us right now.
And it is a mobile-only trading solution, and the world is going mobile. Okay, we get it, but with trading, it's just not. We have people, to trade on your phone, this size here, and expect to see charts, read price levels, get your orders in correctly, be able to read level 2. You may not know what I'm just saying, but you will, hopefully, if you keep watching this podcast. It's hard to do on the phone, and then you're dealing with mobile data. So it's just not an ideal solution. You want a more professional solution, and we either sell that we recommend, but we have a whole process here within our program. And as the guys were saying, that's much later in the game. Let's learn at least some basics and get a strategy going first before you start worrying about that. And to kind of touch on the racing car analogy, and though I kind of can't fault some people for these questions because there's so much out there. So what we try to do is just provide the information and the guidance and all that. So to get on the racing car thing, so with trading, it is a profession, and people don't really take it that seriously. They just think, oh, I can do this and that from home, whatever. But imagine a profession like race car driving, but all the race cars are easily accessible for you to get in and crash, right? So, like, all these softwares, all these professional tools are there for the average person. That's good and that's bad.
Well said, Rob. I like that.
Yeah. So, like I said, you can crash and burn easily. That's why a lot of people, fail. And so you just have to recognize that it is professional stuff that you're dealing with. You're getting access to real market data. You're trading with the big boys. It is an ultimate competition. So you just got to take it seriously. So, we can have multiple podcasts on the dumb questions I get. We'll save some more of them. But and again, I don't fault anyone out there. You can ask dumb questions to me all day. I don't care, because I used to ask them too. Mike was the only one who came through our door and was pretty focused on what he was doing, and kind of had a preset plan in head that was actually pretty good. So, you just do your research, guys, and, keep watching and hopefully, and listening, and hopefully we can help you.
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy. The fact that it is an open market. Anybody can show up to the racetrack, and there's a shitload of professional race cars out there. They can just hop in on day one. And that's why there's such a high failure rate in this game, because that's what people do. People are impatient. People don't understand that this is a profession. And they're like, damn, look at this car. Like, I can get in today and drive it now. Like, let's do this. So
why wait to get trained,
Yeah. So the people get a little ahead of themselves and don't approach this correctly. So that's basically what we try to do at Fous4, is get you started correctly. So that's what our topic number 2 is. They don't get educated by professionals. And with anything in life, the quickest road to success is find somebody who's doing it successfully and follow their lead. It's called having a mentor, something that I have struggled my whole life following that guidance that I just told you right there. That's why it took me 3 years before I ever started making money. I winged it and, eventually tried to learn on my own. But I didn't necessarily have a mentor, and I'm an idiot for doing that. So if you want to find that shortest road to success, learn from my mistake and try to find somebody else who is actually doing it successfully, learn how they do it, dig into their mind and see what their process is, or if they have a course or whatever, some kind of training, you should definitely highly consider that over winging it. Just like I lost for my first 3 years, just like you have the option to jump in a race car on day one, because that's just the market that we're in. But it's definitely the wrong approach to get going. So, Mike, why don't you talk about the process of you came in as a student to Fous4 Trading while having a full-time job in the corporate world and in finance. So what was that like for you? What was your approach? Because you are definitely our best success story as a student. Hence, now you are the director of trading at Fous4 Trading. You're doing the mentor classes. You're doing the live broadcasts 5 days a week. But you didn't get there by being an idiot. So what was your approach as far as getting started?
Yeah, so basically, I guess you could say, and I don't really think it helped, but because I was in the finance world for a little bit, I understood how the market worked. And I knew that even if you had one good trade, it's not about, that one trade. It's about having the consistency, right? So I kind of understood that from the beginning. So when I first, discovered you, Fous, and Rob, I took probably like 4 months just like watching the DVDs in chat, kind of seeing how it worked, and what everyone was buying. And even just seeing how the market operated probably on like a intraday basis, because most people think they understand the market until you watch what happens intraday. And I think, it could blow your mind, especially lately, right? Like these stocks, PED going up 1,200%, in a day. It's like unheard of. So, but then people see that and they get the whole greedy mindset. So I think a lot of it's just understanding that it's a marathon, and then they come in, and I wanted to mention this with the brokers, but like people will have the Robinhood mentality, or they'll have the hey, do you use hotkeys as if they need more bells and whistles before they even know how to like execute trades. Like, I remember me and Fous were laughing, like we just figured out hotkeys, and I'm like, where have we been under a rock? You know, like. So like there's two types of people, right? The people that think it needs more bells and whistles and the people that want to get rich quick. And it's all just down to education and figuring out what works for you. So I think what helped me is, and I said this on Twitter today, like I feel like, and you could probably speak about this, Fous, this career was probably way different 20 years ago because now you have Twitter, which is a huge resource, and you see what other traders are doing, and you can see what styles work by seeing who's making money, and then see if you can do that and figure out like what strategies for you. We kind of show everyone how to long and short. So we're kind of providing the buffet, and everyone's trying to figure out like what's their own personal sweet spot. That's why I kind of pride myself in what we do. But I think a lot of people, you can figure out education-wise so much now because there's so many resources and transparency with like Twitter and social media that I think that changed this career definitely from an education standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. And you also have to find your niche within a different strategy. What works for you? What can you psychologically handle? Because emotion is such a big part of this game. You know, we predominantly short to make money now, but I started as a long trader for 10 years up until about 2.5 years ago, probably. I think it was when I started mostly shorting stocks. But leading up to that, I couldn't short. I tried multiple times and I was continually failing. It just wasn't my niche. It wasn't working for me personally. But there was a lot of other traders out there making money short. So you have to, find out what you can consistently repeat over and over again, because that's, again, what this game is about, is consistency. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a one hit wonder. It's not I needed to double my count this month. I get that stupid question all the time, is like, I have $500. Like, how long will it take me to get it to 50?
Some of the emails that Rob sends us are hysterical. Can you give me $100 to fund an account? All right.
Yeah. So it's really just about finding what works for you personally within all different strategies that we teach or somebody else is teaching. You're going to find out what part of that strategy is working for you, and you're always probably going to add in a little of your own flair or spice to that recipe, so that it actually works for you. And another thing that you were just touching on, Mike, is kind of basically the keep it simple, stupid method. If you're trying to continually look for the bells and whistles to add to your arsenal, you're already down the wrong path, because the more and more different things you add to your arsenal of trading, the more and more different things are going to affect your decision-making process. So you have to have a very simple strategy and simple set of rules and tools to use so that it's very clear and you have clarity when you're making these trading decisions. If you're trying to find all these different things, then you have all these different things that are going to affect your ability to have clarity to actually execute the trades when you need to. So that's basically it. You have to find a mentor in this game or anything in life. And that's what's so beautiful about online now, and why the university system is most likely going to go under unless they really dramatically change how they operate, is in the internet world, you can go find anybody who is the best at whatever topic that you want, and they're probably selling an expert course or something, teaching people how they do that successfully in a real world setting. If you go take a course in college, you're most likely learning from some professor that isn't really going anywhere in their life.
All the academia.
Props to them, but they probably haven't accomplished a lot in their life. And you should never take advice from from anybody who isn't in a position that you want to be in, or they don't have traits that you value. So whatever person you're looking up to, if it's a professor or a mentor, they to be somebody that you want to be in their shoes, or there needs to be something about them that you admire or that you want. And that's how you kind of want to pick your mentors or your process of getting educated by some person. If you go to university, there's probably a lot of shitty teachers in there that are just making a crap salary. You know, if that's what they love doing, then that's awesome. But is that somebody that you want to take value from? Is that somebody's whose shoes you want to be in? So that's definitely something to consider if you're in school, whatever mentorship program you're going for. And that's the same goes for trading. If you guys value us, if you look at our lives and say, I want a piece of that, then that's definitely something you should consider when you're getting started. And that's what we do with the Fous4 Pro 90-day mentorship program. It's basically just a deep dive right into our minds, our thoughts, our process, our system, and you get to interact with us. What is it, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a week, 3 times a week for mentor class, and 5 times a week for the actual trading session. We do a live broadcast. Do you guys have anything else to add to getting started with education?
No, that was pretty good. One thing I would add is again, kind of what I was saying before. It's a double-edged sword when there's so many sources and paths out there. So really just do your research. And you mentioned, okay, like being prepared or doing your research or getting started the right way. Well, some people think they are getting started the right way, but they're not. Guys, watching some YouTube here and there, like I did, I literally thought I got prepared correctly because I was watching all these different people on YouTube. I was following all the right people on Twitter. I was reading books. I lived, breathed this stuff on the weekend for 3 months. Opened up my trading account and realized that what I was doing, I had no direction. So you could still put a lot of effort in, a lot of time, do a lot of research, and still never have a complete strategy understanding. So and it kind of goes hand in hand with the overcomplicating things. And you really just stick with one and just, make sure it's the right fit for you, ask questions, do what you got to do. But I would focus in, narrow, and then expand after that. And if it's with us or anyone else, doesn't matter. Just keep it focused. That's all I would add.
To add to that too, because that whole process, Rob, made me think of this. You could watch as many YouTubes as you want, guys, and study as much as you want. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's more education. And when you start trading, you learn about yourself, because I feel like you think you know yourself until you start day trading.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot more emotionally than educationally up here too. And this goes back to something I'm pretty big in, is EQ versus IQ. And they say that just because you have an high IQ doesn't mean that you're going to be like in the movie Limitless, where he's like, and you're like quintupling your account in like 4 days,
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot more of education of understanding yourself and how you feel emotionally.
Have you seen Limitless?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's just also to understand in day trading is that at the end of the day, it all comes down to what Mike just said, your EQ, which is, I believe that's emotional intelligence. And that's what it all comes down to. And that's what we teach in the Cloud9 course, is kind of like the steps you need to take to find that emotional intelligence, to have it be balanced in a way that you can actually click buy and sell when you need to. At the end of our 90-day course, you're going to have the knowledge of a professional day trader, but that doesn't make you a pro day trader by any means necessary. You're not going to find out if you're a pro day trader until you put yourself in the actual harsh environment of day trading and see if you can click buy and sell when you need to. And your fear and greed get in the way of you actually being able to make those proper decisions correctly. So you really got to understand that you're not going to find out if you're a pro day trader until you get started and start practicing. And you should definitely start with paper money first and a paper trading account, just to see if you can actually do that and click buy and sell when you need to correctly before you actually risk your real money. After that, you would open up a real brokerage account and then see if you can repeat that process with real money, because that's when the emotional side really starts eating away at your head, because you're like, all right, I'm actually either really winning or losing here with my actual account. Next up, guys, the topic is joins a chat room and thinks they can follow signals. So we actually restructured and changed our entire name of our business, because the old business was called Fous Alerts, and it made it look like we were selling signals, and that was a way to actually make money in day trading. So we had that name for I don't know how many years, and I decided, we are selling a lie here by having this alerts in our name. We were making alerts, but I did not want to misconstrue. Is that a word?
Definitely.
Yeah. That's what we were doing, and that's how you were going to make money. So we changed to Fous4 Trading to, build up the brand of Fous4, because that was our trading system that we, pride ourselves on and actually teach you guys. So this is another big mistake that a lot of people get into. Is I get DMs about it all day, like, oh, you sell signals? Like, how many days does it take for me to turn my 500 into 50,000? And you will never become a day trader if you're relying on always waiting for someone to give you a signal to follow, because you're already 2 steps behind at that point. You need to get to the point where you are actually looking at the same stocks that we are, or whatever guru that you're following or mentor, and understand the decision-making process already, so that you are making those decisions for yourself, so you can be first in line. Trading is a very big and tough competition. So whoever is last isn't going to make money. You're trying to have the best entries, the best exits. And if you don't understand the process to try to be first in line for those entries and exits at the best times, you're never going to make money. If you're always just trying to trail behind somebody or try to wait for signals, you're never actually going to make money. So that's definitely a big thing that you need to understand. We spent a lot of freaking money rebranding our entire company just to change that persona that we are selling at our old website. So it's been a while, because that's how I approached the market when I joined this website, 3 Stocks on Fire in 2005. I was looking for that guidance. And here's what you need to do. You need to approach that and take that as you can follow signals, but do it to learn by example, not to actually try to replicate or mimic that. So Mike, when you were getting started, what was your thoughts? Like, were you, because this is, I think a lot of people get in, is that's how they think they're going to make money, is just by, okay, I'm just going to follow this guy and get those signals, and I'm going to do exactly what he does. So like, what was your thoughts when you were coming in at the beginning, where you're like, was that your process or thinking as well?
At
like,
first,
I'm going to follow Fous. So like, yeah, give us a little more on.
I basically, you find out really quick that you're not going to be able to do that, because usually by the time the alerts even out, the stock's 10, 20 cents, in the money. So you're like, okay, I can't do that. And what I recommend to everyone is you basically keep trading. And I remember this was my aha moment, was once I was getting in stocks, basically before you were alerting them, Fous, or like at or around. And I was like, okay, now, when I'm getting in when Fous is, basically, I think I know what I'm doing. And that's good confirmation. And it's better than alerts, because it's more of that confidence build, as opposed to the alert is like the alert is the nipple, and you have to get off the nipple.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like everyone wants their handheld, and the truth is that when me and Fous are out there, we're competing too. Like every morning we laugh, like sometimes I'll cover, he's adding, or vice versa,
Yeah, or sometimes we're obviously looking at the same levels to get in. Like I forget what stock it was the other day, but I was trying to get in as well. Yeah, you're like talking on Fous4 Live. You're like, just added to blah blah blah. I'm like, motherfucker, like I was trying to get a piece of that fucking
big snack.
Yeah. So, and it's cool because like we both traded XBIO today. So this doesn't mean you can't trade the same stocks. Like me and Mike both just tag teamed XBIO the other day. I made like $1,200. I forget what Mike made. Maybe I think he made more than I did.
Yeah. I know, Dave.
So it's yeah. So you can all trade the same stocks, but you also have to understand that the liquidity factor. There's only so many certain shares of each of these stocks to trade at different levels. So we are all competing to get those pieces of those trades. So the more that you understand what the concept is and the process is that goes into the trading strategy, if you're trying to follow alerts, most of the time you're going to be way late and the stock's going to be already moved in a different direction, or at the right opportune moments to get in. There's only a limited amount of shares to enter or exit at that price, especially in the small caps that we trade in low float under 20 million. So you have to understand that, and you need to be educated to try to be first in line. Robert, you were about to say something today.
Yeah, to sum it all up, guys, is there's no exact science for this. I mean, just learn, use alerts and signals or whatever as something to follow as a guide more than something to depend on, like the nipple example, right? So and one thing interesting I love is just seeing Mike and Cameron trade together. Mike came through the system, learned from us, but he's certainly not a carbon copy of Cameron. They have their own trading styles, and they're competing, yet we're on the same team. And it's the same thing with our whole community. There's a lot of people doing different things, and you need to find where you fit. And really the key word here is anticipation. So you need to anticipate what's going to happen. I mean, we provide watch lists. We tell you what we think, what to pay attention to. That's the stuff. That's the gold right there. The preparation before the market opens is the most important thing. You need to do the same thing. Do it with us. When I first started making my watch list every night, it was awful. It was terrible. But you keep doing it, you get better and better. You keep following us, you get better and better. And so you just, it's a marathon, like Mike was saying, and you just gotta keep working at it, not getting discouraged, stay positive, listen to yourself, see what bits and pieces of strategies are working for you, and what your tendencies are. And knowing yourself is the most important thing, is learning who you are. And you may not know who you are until, like Mike said, you start trading.
It's like the movie Fight Club. It's like you have the Brad Pitt, who's basically your ulterior personality that you really don't know about. But once you're in the fight, you learn a lot about yourself. Yeah. But that's the beauty of trading, is it's such a challenge. That's what gets me up every morning, is it's so correlated with life in terms of being centered and not being greedy and managing your emotions, I guess.
Yeah, and it's definitely, if you're not a disciplined person in life, you're probably not going to be a disciplined person in trading.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So you have to, like Mike just said, it's day trading. Your success is completely correlated with your success in life and how you actually live your life. And also wanted to talk just about competition, that we're competing. Like once the market's open and the students are asking me questions like, Fous, what's your exact buy price? What's your exact stop? Where exactly are you going to sell? It's like, that's my information that I'm going to, like, the market's open. I'm fucking competing for my best prices. Like, you got to fucking understand that I'm competing with these prices. And if we have a chat room with, hundreds of people in there, I'm not going to give you my exact spots where I'm going to buy and sell. Like I just said, there's only a limited quantity of shares to be getting in and out at these exact prices. You need to understand the process and the system and our thought process going forward so that you can compete with me. I'm not going to give you my exact secret sauce in the live trading markets, but previous to going into that, in our training, we'll teach you exactly what our thought process is, how to look for support and resistance levels, how to identify the most high probable trading patterns. But once the bell's open, it's game on. Like, I don't give a shit about you at this point. I'm
right. Messed up, but true.
Yeah.
All those points where you could be selling. I mean, I'm watching level 2 and watching you, and after I really studied you pretty darn hard. I was watching you very closely for my first, 3-4 months. And A lot of times I would guess when you would do certain things, and buy in or buy out. So you just keep following, keep watching, keep trading, keep looking at the tape, and it's while that's his information, you should be knowing these things, and that's why we do the mentoring. We'll go over all of our thought process about everything that we did previously.
Even though we're competing, we're still telling you guys what zones we're looking at. So it's not like we're being shady. I'll be like, if it gets to 5, I'm going to dabble for a short, and if it's over 5, they'll be like, yo, Mike, are you going to dabble? I'm going to be like, I probably won't even answer you at that point.
Because it's all, it's a competition. It's a straight up competition, guys. So you need to understand that once the bell's open, it's, we're all a team and a community, but you need to understand this game because this is a really tough game to get into, and you don't do it by holding hands. Okay. So you have to be able to understand that competition is real, and you need to be confident that that you are good at this game, and you don't have that confidence until you've gone through a training program and actually executed that training program in a real world setting. And that just comes with practice. Just like Mike said, you find out a lot about yourself after you start actually trading. So I think that's about it for that topic, unless you guys have any else.
That was a good one.
No, yes.
Number 4 is undisciplined traders blow up their accounts and approach this game as a get-rich-quick scheme. So we kind of already touched on this as well, and we kind of already touched on, if you're not disciplined in life, you're probably not going to be disciplined in trading. If you don't have a routine in life, I think having a daily routine is extremely important. When you're day trading. And I've noticed this as well. I've been traveling for 17 months, and I think my performance definitely goes down if I'm in a setting or situation where I'm like staying at 3 days here, staying at 4 days there, staying at 5 days here, staying at 2 days here, and continually bouncing around, because I lose my daily routine. So I've noticed a performance drag in that. For one, you're flying, you're losing your sleep, you're jet lagged. And so now I try to stay at least a month in basically anywhere I go, so that I can have a routine, be, able to, get my life disciplined again. Because if you're traveling all the time, like, you lose your daily routine. So it's definitely a huge performance booster to have a daily routine, so that your mind is also clear, and you're not like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. Coming to the day trading station every morning with a clear mind is a game changer in your ability to actually make money. And having that clear mind comes with stability in your life and discipline in your life, having a daily routine to actually do that. And that's why a lot of people lose money, is because they're not living a disciplined life, or they're not a disciplined day trader, or they don't understand the concept of trading well enough because they're not educated. And one of the biggest reasons why people lose money in the stock market, and this is going to sound weird, is because they choose to lose. Okay, when you get into a stock and it starts going into the opposite direction that you want it to go to, it turns into a loss. But how big do you let that loss get? Okay, you have to be able to understand that losing is a huge part of this game, and you have to be able to take a small loss. If you take a $200 loss, that's fine, no problem. But if you choose to lose more than that, that's on you. You chose to not get out of a small loss when it started going against you. So that's the biggest reason why people lose and never make it this game, because they choose to actually blow their account up. They choose to hold on to a losing position. That's the only way you can lose money, is by choosing to lose, and that just comes with lack of discipline. So, Mike, why don't you touch on what were the kind of some of the struggles you had in the beginning with being disciplined, or trying to understand, or coming to the realization how big discipline is to your success actually as a day trader?
Yeah, I think you find out quick how it's more about, and this is, if I could say I've learned anything so far, it's that it's not about looking at charts and studying. It's about having discipline in life. That discipline will flow over into trading. It's almost a guarantee. So like my first year was pajama Mike, where I didn't work out in the morning. Shower and be like, let's do this. And now I'm a huge, proponent of waking up early, and I get my workout in because there's a science behind it, that it gets your mind going, it gets you thinking, and then that discipline 100% has flowed over into my trading. Like, I'm pretty sure now when I don't get up and I don't work out, that I 100% lose money that day.
Yeah.
So and I've seen that personally, and it's less about being in front of the charts, and it's more about in the morning, I'm being trying to get in that Zen zone where I know what I want that day. This is also more of Tony Robbins stuff. What are you thankful for in life? Be thankful, feel grateful. It always goes back to your emotions and being disciplined and figuring out what you want that day. And that discipline for me always flows over into my trading. If I get a good workout in and my mind's going, I'm feeling good, it's that momentum will flow over into your trading. But if you feel like shit and you've been eating like shit and you're just not feeling good, it's very rare you meet, I met a trader that's just a fat slob, that's just everybody I've met is somewhat, in shape and with it. And that's because they're disciplined. I think we might have lost Fous.
Comes to mind, Mike, that day I knew you shouldn't have traded in Vegas.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to segue into that. I'm kind of glad that you brought that up. Texted the guys after that my brother's bachelor party, first day in Vegas. We had to go on a Thursday night. I'm like, no, I'm going to be up Friday to trade. And then within 3 minutes, I think I was down $5,000.
Oh man!
And thankfully, ended up pulling it back. But I was so hungover, and I knew I shouldn't have traded, and I was not disciplined that morning at all. I remember pounding an Advil, water, running downstairs to Starbucks, thinking that I could just skip all the shortcuts, very similar trading theme, and just crush the day and then go back to fucking partying, no big deal. But it didn't work out. So it's eye-opening, because that's when the market humbles you. When you try to skip that discipline, the market reminds you just of, I think,
even the best traders, right? I mean, you could be a 10-year veteran and you'll get humbled, right? So
everyone gets humbled. And I think that once you, and this is something Fous talks about too, and it's happened to me before, when you're having a good week or, a couple days or a month and you feel on top of the world, that's when you're about to get humbled. Not when you're beaten down.
Yeah, you swing for it. You think you got this, and you're like, all right, I'm the fucking man. I'm gonna open up and just let loose on this trade. And then next thing you know, you just lose 2 weeks straight of winning with one big fuck up. So it's and that's part of the game, and that's something you need to understand. You're gonna learn that yourself. You're gonna have those days in the market, and it sucks. It's not fun to deal with. It's something that also takes recovery time. I think you were just mentioning this the other day, Mike. Your buddy, made $350K, and then he lost 300 of it, in a day or something, or
exactly. So imagine psychological, and this is what's tough. And this is where Fous and I and Rob, we can all relate. Anyone that trades can relate, but you can't talk to anybody in the normal world and expect them to comprehend what that's like, nor show you sympathy, because you'd be like, you're a fucking idiot, right? But the mental that comes with that, and coming back, you immediately take off, and you've said this before, Fous, however long you need, because that's the discipline. The undisciplined approach is let's use a casino as an analogy. You run to the poker table, you throw, all your money on red, and you lose, and you're pissed. What do? You go right back to the ATM and you double down and you throw the rest on black. And that's breaking discipline is how I like to look at it, and the market reminds you when you break discipline why you need to remain that way. It's definitely a lot of factors, but it all comes down to being disciplined.
Yeah. And so with me, I get a lot of the new traders. This may sound weird, but I get a lot of the new traders that may have some experience, and they come to me like, "Hey, Robert," they tell me a little bit about themselves and their story, and they say, hey, 4 months ago, I lost my entire $4,000 account, blah, blah, blah. And I actually get excited when I hear that, because sounds bad, right? I actually, okay.
But that's the tuition that people pay.
That's right. It's a tuition. Sometimes you need to make those losses before you realize what it takes. And I would say each of us have been there. Obviously do everything you can to, don't go intentionally blowing up your account and say, oh, hey, Robert,
that would be we should add that.
Like, all right, guys, month one, you got to blow your account up.
Leverage my entire work. And I'll be a pro by tomorrow.
But realistically, I think it's necessary to get humbled by the market, because the earlier you learn this lesson, the better you're going to be in the long term. Because if you don't get humbled early and you get lucky in the market, you're going to you might make a bunch of money, and then you could easily just crash and burn really quick right later, because you get overconfident, overzealous. You think you're on top of the world, but you've never been humbled by the market. So you're going to still make stupid decisions down the road if you do have success. So I think the earlier you get humbled in the market, the better. Like I love that I went through the 2008 market crash. I love that it's over. It sucked. But coming out of that, 2009 was one of my best years in trading, and I'm extremely fortunate and blessed to have been through that experience, because I know more what to expect. If you're leading into this without ever being there and you've never been through that, you're not going to know what to expect when the next market crash comes, and you could easily ruin everything you have built in trading by not having the understanding involved with that. So I'm blessed that I was humbled by the 2008 market crash. But unless you guys have anything else to add to
Losses will
Undisciplined.
teach you more than wins in the market. That's the takeaway.
Yeah. I think it was Bill Gates that said success is a lousy teacher. Yeah, somebody important said success is a lousy teacher. So
yeah, that's true.
It's 100% true for sure.
I got to look that one up.
Who said it?
We can success.
You are correct, sir. It is Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Boost knows his quotes, guys.
Also, I want to add to that, because I think that this is relatable. So if you've never made $1,000 in a day, don't think that over the weekend you're going to start making $10,000 a day, because I think that my belief is that you'll never make a certain dollar amount until you've lost that, right, Fous? Because you get comfortable. To tell you guys, recently this market's been crazy. Stock XBIO, I was telling Fous and Rob, I was down like 15 grand intraday, and ended up making all of that back. And at the end of that experience, I said, I'm thankful for that, because now that I've seen what that looks like, next time it happens again, and it will happen again, I'm a lot more comfortable because I've been there. And that's what trading comes down to. The sooner, once you get used to getting 300 a day, 400 a day, after that consistency is when you grow. You're never just going to literally do like an overnight, I'm going to start trading 100,000 share blocks and be fine,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we've been talking about and doing lately, Mike, is staying disciplined as far as piecing into our positions, as opposed to years before. This doesn't work anymore, because most likely, like you were saying before, it's like probably 80 to 90% of the time, your first entry is going to be wrong. So if you're going in with size into these positions, especially with the volatility in today's market and these low floats that are just all over the place, if you're going in with size big and heavy, going in on your full position on play one, you're probably going to get stopped out of that, because the bigger size you take, the easier it is to get stopped out. So you have to have the discipline to start out small and piece in, so you're not risking your trade or your ability to make the rational decision with the volatility in stocks by going in too hot and heavy at the beginning. And that's just boils down to the discipline to actually do that, because sometimes you get FOMO and you're like, oh, should I go in big right here? This could hit it. And then every time when we go in big or even just small, we're usually wrong with that first entry, and we have to have patience to be able to give it a little wiggle room and then add in more size once we get confirmation that this pattern is actually working out the way we wanted it to.
For me, I don't know about you guys, the problem is actually scaling out, especially on a successful trade. Like leaving some on the table for that late afternoon run, or generally I just struggle with that. So I don't know if you guys do, because
that's definitely like an ego thing too. People want to be able to say like, oh, well, I'm going to call this top or bottom. And the sooner you could be like, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. Like me and Fous always joking. People are like, yo, what do you guys think is going to happen with this? And in the morning, we're like, I don't know. We're going to see what happens when we open, you know? So,
now, and that comes.
Don't know. It's a lot easier to just be like, maybe I'm going to leave some. And if I'm wrong, not a big deal. But doing the one hit wonder full size, that's how I was my first year. And it was probably my most stressful year trading.
Yeah, for sure. And it's another thing for people that they need to understand, like the question that you just mentioned. People are always asking, what do you think it's going to do? Or what's this going to start to do? It's the dumbest question ever. Yeah. That's not how trading works. Trading is reacting. That's it. It's reacting and managing risk. There is no, I think it might go here, or, I'm going to predict that it's going to do this, because you have no fucking clue. Nobody knows what any stock is going to do at any given time. All you can do in trading is look at what's going on in front of you and try to react to whatever you're seeing based on the things that you know about price movements. And then once you enter into a position, just managing the risk. So it's reacting and managing the risk. There's no predicting. There's no, hey, what's this stock going to do? Because I have zero fucking clue. Mike doesn't know. Robert doesn't know. Warren Buffett doesn't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Fugazi, whatever it's called from Wolf of Wall Street. But yeah, so that's definitely something you need to understand in trading. Number 5, guys, to close this out, is that they blame the market for losses and hates the world, hates themselves, hates their girlfriend, everyone hates their mom. And this is something that a lot of people believe. I get haters all the time on my YouTube or my Instagram. They're like, oh, it's a fucking scam. Like, you can't make money in the stock market. Or like, fuck this guy, fuck this, fuck that, fuck everything, because they're mad at the world. They're mad because they obviously had failure in trade, which is understandable. 90 to 95% of people who try this fail, especially on their first time, because they're not approaching it the correct way. They lack discipline, all the things that we just talked about leading up to blaming the market, joining a chat room thinking they're going to follow signals, lack of discipline in their life, starting out by thinking they're going to have all the bells and whistles with the right tools, jumping into that race car because this is an open free market. You have the ability to just find that race car on the track, be like, I like that race car. It's the best one. I want to start racing today. And these are all things that lead to people blaming the market and not themselves for losses and losing in trading. And that's why this game is such a difficult thing to get into, because it's so easy to get into without taking the right steps. There's no regulations. There's no, like, the SEC doesn't really give a shit. I mean, they've done one thing. They created the PDT rule, the pattern day trader rule, so that,
which is bullshit.
It is kind of bullshit. Like it's
you can gamble. You could gamble in a casino your entire life savings, but you have to have 25K in a day trade. Like, come on,
Yeah. So that's kind of the only safeguard that they have set, but it actually is. It sucks because it's, in one way it's good. It's probably avoiding more losses, but what makes it more difficult is for people who actually want to learn to do this correctly, it creates a barrier for them that they have to surpass. Yeah, there are brokers out there that we are partnered with that we can have ways to avoid that, but it's still a process that is a barrier and kind of a mountain you have to climb, which makes it even more difficult for a beginning trader to get started correctly. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It does protect a lot of fucking retards from losing all their money, but it also is another barrier for people that want to get started the right way that they do have to surpass and overcome. And it took me 3 years to kind of like, finally get consistent enough where I could get over that and then stay over that PDT rule. And that was one thing you mentioned the other day, Mike. I forget where we were talking about this or just on.
Yeah, you can't it's not like you be like, I made it over 25. I'm there. Like, what if you're at 25.5 and you're like, fuck, I can't lose $500 or I'm going to go back under. And then there's all shit that they can do with like freezing your account, and then they need you to wire in money. And it's just like, you really need 35 to be able to have wiggle room and not, have it affect your trading. And that's a lot of money. For most people.
I had to stop trading when I got to 25K. First of all, when I did it the hard way, I got to 25,000. And that was such a psychological barrier that I was straddling this 25 mark for like a month. And literally my broker was emailing me like 3 times a week. and I had to stop trading and save up $2,000 and just sock it in.
Yeah, just get over that.
I never worried about it again. So you actually need more than that, a little bit of buffer. And as Cameron was saying, there are other ways to, you don't have to worry about it, but the idea of it being there is, it's kind of a nanny state type thing. And also it puts you in a position where you have to pick and choose. Okay, all right, it's Monday. I got 3 trades for the week. What's it going to be?
Definitely. That's my nightmare.
I can imagine. I mean, we trade like 3 stocks
5
a day.
trades in 5 seconds. Oh, there goes my week.
Yeah.
Better make them count, buddy.
But yeah, it's just it's an interesting game. And people do blame. This is also something like there's the book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And it's all about taking ownership for your actions and not blaming anybody else. Because at the end of the day, obviously there are certain situations where you are out of control. But if you can take ownership for the failures in your life and respect yourself enough to overcome your ego, it's definitely a game changer. And that's something that you also need to absorb in trading is understand that, okay, what did I do wrong? Because if you do lose money in trading, it's most likely your fault 99.9% of the time. Just like I said before, if you lose money in trading, it's because you chose to lose. All right. There's obviously other factors like, okay, I was entering this without proper risk management, but at the end of the day, once that stock goes into a losing position, you have the choice and decision to get out of that before it turns into a huge losing position. So you have to respect the market. You have to respect yourself and take ownership and not blame everybody else for you losing money in the market. And that's basically it in trading. This is how you fail. All these things that we just went over, these 5 topics, this is the wrong way to approach. So realistically, guys, to kind of close this out, that's what we offer at Fous4 Trading. Our Fous4 Pro package is a 90-day program. What you're getting is Fous4 1, 2, and 3. That's swing trading, day trading, and how to short, in addition to Cloud 9, which is the most important piece of that puzzle, which is the psychological aspect of day trading. Just like we kind of discussed throughout this whole podcast, how important discipline and your psychological EQ, your emotional intelligence, how important that is. It's really the deciding factor of if you're going to make money or not. And that just comes with practice and time. And that's kind of what we do with the other part of our program. So you go through 25 hours of online training on your own. And then we have 5 days a week of live broadcasts where me and Mike are trading live. So you actually get to see exactly what we're doing. Again, it's not alerts for you to take advantage of. This is just showing you guys in a real world setting the actual strategies that we use in a real world setting, so you can actually see what exactly we are doing. And then 3 times a week mentor classes, which are basically just kind of going over those trades in detail. Because obviously, like I said, once that bell is open, it's a competition. It's basically every man for themselves, because we're all competing to try to get the best price. And there's only a limited quantity of shares in these stocks to enter and exit. We also offer a 30-day free access with our pro program to Fous Sim. It's our simulator, so you can actually get a practice. Like I said before, it's very important that you can prove to yourself that you can enter and exit out of these trades at the proper time with fake money before you actually risk your money. So that is a key approach to getting started, is to prove to yourself first with fake money that you can actually do it and understand the concept before you just go out like, go out and with real money, went through the course, let's just give this a shot. It's a dumb, stupid approach to do it. Practice first with fake money before you actually get started. So anyways, guys, that was super fun. First podcast in the books. Super stoked.
I'm liking it.
Yeah, I'm super pumped to do this once a week, and we'll have a bunch more cool topics to talk about. Any closing arguments, statements, thoughts, Robert and Mike?
Chase stocks and chasing unicorns.
You kind of nailed it there at the end.
Well, I didn't hear what you said there, Mike.
So if you chase stocks, you're chasing unicorns.
They're pretty fast. I think some of them have wings, so I don't know. All right. Anyways, guys, we're going to have a link somewhere below. We also have a 1-hour free masterclass if you want to take that or get started today. Fous4 Trading, 5 days a week. We trade live broadcast. Come take a gander, take a peek. Let's get to it. Let's make some money. Let's all live good lives. Let's take ownership for our